Welcome back to the Odyssey, my friends. I am Mike Odyssey, and I have two major leaks that are amazing and exciting for Nintendo fans everywhere. This has to do with some patents and what Nintendo is working behind the scenes, and then I'll tell you what these patents could be referring to right after we go ahead and reveal them. But before, if you are new here, check this clip out and then we'll get into the video. So before we get into today's stories, you see, I want to ask you one thing. I want to ask for your subscription. You see, I'm legally blind and I'm basically losing my sight as we go. I don't have sight on my left eye and I have about 40% sight of my right eye, and it's just fading away, right? The doctors right now have nothing else they can do, but I have a dream to become a full-timer on YouTube by the end of this year. And I want to ask you for your help. If you subscribe to this channel right now, it'll only take a second. For me, it'll just change my life. So if you could do that right now, I would really appreciate it. Here, we have Monday through Friday Nintendo news. On the weekends, we have products and reviews. And we also have the occasional in-topic podcast with your favorite voice actor. So I would really appreciate it. It would mean the world to me. And I just want to thank you in advance for giving me your subscription. Let's move on to today's stories. All right, so the first piece of information and the first patent I want to cover, of course, is the most exciting one at the beginning of the video, and it has to do with Nintendo's Switch's addition to the Joy-Con controllers. Now, there is no way of knowing whether this is a new patent, this is an old patent, right? Whether this is something that they were working on from before, or this is something that's coming on now. And so it has to do with the Joy-Con controllers and an attachment that would make it so that you can crank something like let's say a fishing pole, right? Or even something different of any other game, right? So here I am, and I'm choosing Go Nintendo to cover this. They have really good content, so I recommend them. So we have here Nintendo patent cranks and clickable wheel accessory. They basically put for Joy-Con 2s, but we don't know this yet because it is a patent, and believe it or not, what they're showing here on the screen is a Joy-Con 1. It's not a Joy-Con 2 one. So let's go ahead here and read what they say here. One of the biggest discussions surrounding the Switch 2 prior to its launch was how safe the hardware played things. Despite having features like magnetic Joy-Con 2s and mouse mode, many were surprised the Big N didn't get a bit more weird and wild while their next-gen system. With this even brought up during the investor Q&A with Nintendo, to which companies said products like Nintendo Labo and Ring Fit Adventure showed the gaming platform itself isn't the only way to innovate. So we might be seeing that again with the new round of patents. So this is basically the new patent here. You can see it. This is all there is to see. Basically, this is the most important part of the patent here, the crank feature that is attached to this little magnetic part. I think it's magnetic. Maybe it's a clickable one, right? If it's Switch 1, then it clicks down. If it's a magnetic, then it kind of snaps. And then of course we see the insides of this this part here as well. So right now this can open give Nintendo Switch better features for future games. I personally think that this is more like for Nintendo Switch 2 Sports, and maybe we're getting like a fishing game in there, right? There's other games that use a crank to kind of make the game. I'm not too familiar with any of games besides fishing that use this feature, but this could very well be for a Nintendo Switch Sports game that we can use this crank feature on, right? There's not that many things we can do with this, but at least there's something maybe major coming that Nintendo thought of making this accessory for, because in order for them to consider making an accessory for something, then it has to be a big game. It has to be a big feature that is just brings the game to life for you, right? And maybe it's a Mario fishing game, right? It could be an actual fishing game and not just a Nintendo Switch Sports addition to it. It could be a Super Mario fishing or whatever, and this could be the adapter that comes with the game and to create a better and more immersive experience, right? And so let me know what you guys think in the comments of this right here. Let's go ahead and move on to the other patent, right? This one is a little more you still kind of don't know what it is, because what it is basically is it's an internal for something, for a device, right? The device, we don't really recognize it. It might look like a dock, but it's not really a dock as we look at the images here. It has this weird slot here, right on the top. Look how square it is. It's kind of like flat. And you guys let me know what you guys think it is. We have these little vents here. I'm sure, yeah, it's for the circulation part. And then we have these little prongs here, right? This looks like a screen to me. I don't know what it is, but you guys can let me know in the comments. And then we move down, and then we see the internals of the this area. Now you might first say, oh yeah, that's the internals of the Nintendo Switch dock. Oh, I did that research and I kind of found out that no, it's not. You know, this is the internals for the Switch 2 dock, and we can see here the little fan here, but then we have a big giant board here, right? This is the board that the fan works with. And so if we look at the patent, this is the board here that the fan works with. And if we go down here, we can see that they are actually highlighting the chips within the board here, and then the fan right there. And so again, we see it here, the heat sink here, the little chips. And so, you know, not you know, eating chips, but you know, we see each part of this internal part of this fan, right? And so the only description we see here from the title is electronic device and method for producing electronic device. That really does say nothing at all, right? And then we look at the dates. It was founded on April 25th, 2025, which is this year, right? And then of course it was published on August 7th, 2025. Now, you guys can let me know, what do you think this could be related to? Is this the first signs of a Nintendo Switch 2 Lite edition? Because we have to also know how we look at patents. Sometimes we take a look at the patent and we focus on the entire thing, when maybe Nintendo is just kind of maybe just patenting this part here. A fan, just like the Nintendo Switch 2 has, but one that works with a smaller board, okay? A smaller board, more tight, right? And maybe this is what they're using inside the Nintendo Switch 2 Lite. And the more I say it, to me, the more it makes sense. These encasings that they're showing here, this is just for show. This is just for them kind of displaying how the vent will look like. It's not necessarily the final product, and we don't know how thick this really is. Although it does look thick here, we don't know how thick this really is. This could basically be the Nintendo Switch 2 Lite in its entirety, and they don't want to show you the system, so they just make a box with vents on top, right? So again, let me know what you guys think. I'm leaning more towards a smaller version of the fan and a smaller version of the main board, specifically for Nintendo Switch 2 Lite. So let me know what you guys think down below. That is the two patents that we have, and exciting information for Nintendo to bring up in these latest patents, because they've been quiet. They've been quiet for a while with patents, and now we're seeing a resurgence of new patents, which is exciting because that means Nintendo is working behind the scenes on something new. All right, friends, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Never give up, and carry on. Peace.